Hey everyone, and welcome back. We love to deep dive into the world of Asian dramas, and today we're going to be focusing on Thai BLs,
Yeah,
which have just exploded in popularity.
for sure.
And I feel like so many people who are into K-dramas and C-dramas are also,
Finding their way over.
yeah, finding their way over to Thai BL. So I thought it'd be fun to deep dive into one specifically
Yeah.
today, and we're going to be talking about Kidnap, which is a Thai BL that's been getting
Feel a lot of buzz.
yeah, a lot of buzz. And we're going to be using an awesome review and recap by World Wonders Drama on YouTube.
Such a great channel.
Seriously, if you guys haven't checked them out, you need to go subscribe to them immediately because they are a wealth of information, and I just love how in-depth they get.
Yeah, and they're entertaining too.
Yes. So yeah, their Kidnap videos were incredibly helpful for me, and I think that it'll be really fun to pull out some things and
Sure will.
deep dive into what makes this show so captivating.
Definitely.
So to start off, the premise of Kidnap is that we have Men who is a struggling stuntman who's desperate to pay for his brother's medical bills.
Right.
And so he takes a job to kidnap Q, who is the son of a powerful police general. So right away, we're set up with this conflict.
Absolutely. And it really sets the stage for their whole complex dynamic that unfolds throughout the series.
And immediately, I feel like we have to address kind of
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, the elephant in the room, which is the Stockholm Syndrome trope.
Right. And I feel like Thai BLs,
They love it.
they love it.
It's
a go-to.
It is a go-to. So I'm curious to hear from you guys. Do you think that Kidnap actually uses the Stockholm Syndrome trope or
subverts it.
subverts it? Or
Yeah.
how do you see that playing out? Because as we're introduced to these characters, it does seem very surface level. Oh, we have the kidnapper, we have the victim.
no.
But then as the story unfolds, we see Min is constantly protecting Q, going above and beyond what you would expect from just a kidnapper and even struggling with his own morals because of it.
And World Wonders Drama even points out how Min's compassion isn't just an act. It really stems from his own struggles and his sense of right and wrong.
Yeah. And that really comes across in the way he interacts with Q.
It's sure.
And it makes you question, is he really just doing this because he's feeling this, weird connection with his captive? Or is it deeper than that?
Yeah, is it genuine empathy?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that makes Kidnap so intriguing.
For sure. And, we have to talk about, Q sleepwalking.
Yes! Oh my God.
Which adds this whole other
layer of
vulnerability to their relationship.
Totally.
Because, imagine waking up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
You're tied to your kidnapper, but he's comforting you through a sleepwalking episode.
Right. It's such an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, and those scenes were so well acted, too.
Yeah, so emotionally charged.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like, it also shows us that Q isn't just a helpless captive. He's got his own baggage that he's bringing into this relationship as well.
Right, he's got his own trauma stemming from his relationship with his father.
Right, his very strained relationship with his father, which makes his decision to fake another kidnapping even more fascinating.
Right, what's his motivation there? Is it revenge towards his father? A cry for attention?
Yeah.
World Wonders Drama actually poses that same question in their review, and it really stuck with me.
Oh, yeah, because it's on the one hand, we see his anger towards his father so clearly.
Totally. He blames him for his mother's death. He feels neglected and abandoned.
Right.
But there's also this desperate longing for connection.
Yeah.
A need to be seen and acknowledged.
By the one person who should love him unconditionally.
Exactly.
It's he's pushing his father away while simultaneously craving his love.
Right. And that complexity, I think, is what makes Kidnap so compelling.
Oh, for sure. And that's what I love about these Thai BLs, is that they're not just about the romance.
Absolutely.
It's they're bringing in these really interesting themes about family and
trauma.
Plunge. And it's all tangled up in this, messy web of relationships.
Yeah, we see this theme of desperation reflected in Min's choices as well.
Right.
He refuses to con Kachak Q's father.
Even though he desperately needs the money.
Right, even though he's struggling financially, and I think that tells us so much about his character.
Right.
He's not a villain.
Right.
He's a good man caught in a bad situation.
Yeah, and it makes his descent into the criminal underworld even more heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
Because he loses his job, and then that kind of pushes him toward Yada, who's this, powerful and dangerous figure in the drug trade.
Right, and you see him kind of losing his grip on his own morality.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he's trying so hard to hold on.
Yeah, and then we have James.
Oh, James.
Who's Min's friend.
Yeah.
Who's initially seems supportive.
Right, seems like he's just trying to help out.
Yeah, but then
He's got his own agenda.
he's got his own agenda.
Yeah.
And then we find out that the client's motive is actually revenge against Katja
Oh my gosh. Yes.
because he framed his son in a drug case.
Talk about a tangled web of deceit.
Right.
I know, and World Wonders drama really does such a great job of unraveling all these plot twists and connecting the dots.
Yeah, I felt like watching their videos helped me so much to see how all the pieces fit together.
Yeah, for sure. And they help me see how each character's actions, no matter how small, really impact everyone around them.
Right, and that's where things start to get really interesting because we get to the point where Q and Min kind of become allies.
Right. Their relationship shifts from captor and captive to something much more
Complex.
complex. Yeah.
And we see that Min is starting to develop real feelings for Q.
Yeah. And he even helps him during a panic attack.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting because it shows...
A level of empathy and care that goes beyond what you'd expect from a kidnapper.
Right, and it makes you question his motivations even further.
For sure.
Like, is this all just part of some elaborate plan? Or is he really starting to
Care about Q.
care about Q?
And World Wonders drama really pointed out that this connection, this unexpected bond, is what ultimately leads Min to accept Q's proposition to demand ransom from his father.
Right, because it's like they're starting to trust each other.
Yeah, there's this growing sense of mutual trust and reliance.
Right,
Which is crazy considering their circumstances.
right. But at the same time, Min is discovering that Yada is planning to assassinate Katja.
Right, so he's trapped,
He is trapped,
knowing that quitting isn't really an option.
especially in Yada's world.
Yeah,
And then Q shows up at the club.
adding fuel to the fire.
What did you think about that scene where he confronts Yada?
Oh, it was so tense.
So tense.
You have Yada the master manipulator trying to recruit Q, thinking he's on bad terms with his father, and then the alarm goes off, chaos erupts.
And Min immediately saves Q.
Yes, without a second thought, risking his own life to protect him.
And I feel like that's a moment where we see Min's true colors.
For sure.
Because it's like actions speak louder than words.
Exactly like World Wonders drama said in their review.
Yeah.
It's a powerful moment that speaks volumes about his feelings for Q.
Yeah. And then Q, despite his bravado, he's clearly shaken by the encounter.
Right, and he even asks Min, like, why are you so kind to me?
Which is the question that we're all asking.
Right, it's a question that hangs heavy between them.
Yeah, and it kind of hints at the insecurities and the fear of betrayal that both characters are harboring.
Totally, it's like they're constantly pushing and pulling.
Yeah, one step forward, two steps back.
And all of this is playing out against this backdrop of this criminal underworld that's so alluring and dangerous.
Right. It's such a roller coaster.
It's a wild ride, and we're just getting started.
I know.
Oh my gosh, we are back, and I'm like still thinking about that scene with Q and Yada at the club. It was like,
Oh, so intense. And, you know, it just gets more complicated from there because then in episode 5, we're introduced to this whole other element with Sueya.
right, Yada's right-hand man.
Yeah. And we find out that,
He's been working undercover for Katja this whole time.
talk about a plot twist.
Yeah, like a classic double agent scenario.
And it makes you wonder, like, who can you really trust in this world?
Seriously, because loyalties are constantly shifting.
And I thought World Wonders drama had a really interesting point about Sueya in their review.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they said that his character kind of represents this idea of redemption,
Oh, interesting.
like trying to atone for past mistakes.
Right, by working towards a greater good.
Yeah. And I thought that was a really cool observation.
Totally, like Sue is walking this tightrope,
Oh, yeah.
risking his life to bring down Yada.
And maybe find some peace for himself.
Right.
But, you know, while all of that is happening, Min and Q's relationship is taking another hit.
Oh, yeah, because Q sees Min with Yada.
And it looks very suspicious.
Right, and he starts to doubt Min's sincerity.
Yeah, like were all those moments of tenderness just a facade?
Right, was he just playing him this whole time?
And it's heartbreaking because you can see how much Min cares for Q.
Yeah, but he's trapped.
He can't reveal his true feelings without putting himself and Q at risk.
Right, and World Wonders drama called it a classic case of right person, wrong time.
Oh, for sure.
Like, their feelings are genuine, but the circumstances are just all wrong.
Exactly.
And while all of this is happening, we see Q dealing with his own trauma.
Right.
Like, his past continues to haunt him, and it manifests in these panic attacks and nightmares.
Yeah, and those scenes are so raw and powerful.
Like, you really feel the weight of Q's pain.
And it just makes you realize that this isn't just a typical BL romance.
Right. It's going deeper.
It's going so much deeper.
It's exploring these really complex issues like trauma and recovery.
Yeah, and the long-lasting effects of abuse.
Right. And it does so with such sensitivity and nuance.
I was really impressed.
Me too.
But, amidst all the darkness and drama, there are also moments of levity.
Right, those little glimmers of hope.
Like when Min gets that role in the action film.
Oh, yeah.
And he uses his experience with Q to deliver this amazing performance.
Right, it's like he's channeling all that pent-up emotion into his art.
Right. And Q finds his own form of escape through acting, too.
Oh, yeah, when he gets that gig as a zombie on set.
It's so funny.
It is.
And I love how World Wonders Drama contrasted those two scenes in their review.
What did they say?
They pointed out that both Min and Q are using acting as a coping mechanism.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like a way to process their emotions and find some sense of agency.
In this chaotic world.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes so much sense.
And despite all the obstacles that they're facing,
we still see those sparks between them.
Yeah.
Little stolen glances and those moments of vulnerability.
and it just makes you root for them even more.
Totally. And then episode 6 kicks off with Min discovering that Yada has been using him all along.
Oh, yeah.
And that those drugs were actually bombs. Meant to take out Katja and anyone else who gets in her way.
It's terrifying.
I know, right?
And it's such a chilling reminder of just how ruthless Yada is.
Right. And the stakes just got so much higher.
Yeah. And Min realizes he's in over his head,
He's trapped.
but it's too late to back out.
And then Q, bless his heart,
He tries to help Min.
even though he still doesn't fully trust him.
He follows him to Yada's warehouse.
So reckless, but so brave.
And then he confronts Yada.
Oh, my God.
Talk about a nail-biter.
It was intense.
And Yada, she's always one step ahead.
Right. She manages to manipulate the situation.
But then Min steps in.
He drops the act and saves Q.
Yes. It's such a pivotal moment.
It is.
Because it's like he's choosing Q over his own safety.
World Wonders Drama called it the emotional climax of the series.
I would agree.
Me too. It's like all the tension, all the unspoken feelings come pouring out.
Yeah. And the power dynamic shifts.
Because Q finally sees Min for who he really is.
Yeah, and he starts to let down his guard.
And trust him.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
I know it's a beautiful moment.
And they escape together.
They do.
But the threat is far from over.
Especially with Thumb,
Oh my God.
Min's friend.
Yada had him killed.
It's so sad.
I know, it's a stark reminder of just how brutal this world is.
Right, and the price that's paid for loyalty and betrayal.
And it fuels Min's determination to bring Yada down.
He's not going to let anyone else get hurt.
And Q finally understands the depth of Min's feelings.
Yeah.
And he starts to reciprocate.
We see this tenderness between them.
This intimacy that transcends their circumstances.
And it's amazing that we can still root for this couple
Right.
after everything they've been through.
It's a testament to the actors and the writing.
Oh, for sure.
That we can connect with them on this level.
Yeah, and as the episode ends, we're left with this feeling of hope,
A little bit.
but also apprehension.
Yeah. Because they've overcome so much, but there are still challenges ahead.
Right. Like so many secrets.
And difficult choices to be made.
I know. Oh my gosh, you guys, we are back for the final part of our Kidnap deep dive. And I am so excited to talk about this.
I know, I'm like on the edge of my seat still.
Me too. Because in the last episode, we saw Min and Q confess their feelings for each other.
Finally.
Finally. But things are not exactly smooth sailing from here.
No, they're not. It's like they're caught between their love for each other and this like dark world they're living in.
Right. And episode 7 really throws them into the deep end.
Oh, yeah.
Because Min is forced to confront the consequences of his actions.
Right, and he realizes that Yada has been playing him this whole time.
And those drugs that he was transporting weren't drugs at all.
They were bombs.
Bombs.
Meant to take out Katja.
And anyone else who gets in her way.
It's a huge wake-up call for Min.
Oh, yeah. He thought he was in control, but he was just a pawn.
And now he's trapped.
And Q is still trying to help him.
Bless his heart.
I know he sneaks into Yada's warehouse,
Trying to figure out what's going on.
which leads to that confrontation,
Oh my gosh, so intense.
where he's like yelling at Yada, demanding to know the truth.
And you see this like anger and desperation in Q.
Yeah, but also vulnerability.
He's still so young,
Yeah.
trying to protect the people he cares about.
And Min sees him in danger, and he finally snaps
He drops the act.
and protects Q.
He chooses Q over his own safety.
It's such a powerful moment.
World Wonders Drama called it the turning point.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it solidifies their bond.
Sets the stage for the final showdown with Yada.
But before we get to that,
Oh, yeah,
we have to talk about Phum.
I know.
His death is so heartbreaking.
It's so sad, and it just shows how brutal this world is.
But it also fuels Min's determination.
To take down Yada.
He's not going to let anyone else get hurt.
And amidst all the chaos and heartbreak, we see these moments of tenderness between Min and Q,
They find solace in each other.
sharing their fears,
It's beautiful to see their love grow.
even in the darkest of places.
Yeah, and it gives us hope.
That even amidst all of the bad,
They're still good.
love can prevail.
And then the story just like kicks into high gear.
Min and Soeya, they come up with a plan to expose Yada.
But she's always one step ahead
She sets a trap.
and puts Min and Q in danger.
Oh gosh, the tension is just building.
And World Wonders Drama does a great job of breaking down the action.
In their recap,
Yeah, they highlight the symbolism of the final showdown.
which takes place in an abandoned theater.
Oh, wow.
I know, which is like a metaphor for all the deception.
That's brilliant.
And in the end, not everyone survives.
But Min and Q, they find happiness together.
Their love story is so powerful.
It really is.
Kidnap is a series that stays with you.
Yeah, it challenges our perceptions of good and evil.
And love and loyalty
And the choices we make.
when faced with impossible situations.
I highly recommend it.
Me too, and I highly recommend checking out World Wonders Drama on YouTube
They have such great insights.
into Asian dramas.
Yeah, so yeah, go check them out.
And that wraps up our deep dive into Kidnap.
What a ride.
I know. And we hope you enjoyed it.
Until next time.
Keep exploring those Asian dramas.